for the sake of this show and just to make you happy, Fernando, one of my sleeper teams, I will say then, will be the LA Chargers.
Hey,
the hell do I care? No, I thought you were going to say the Jets.
They're going to make the playoffs. And I don't know if this is a sleeper team, but I have the Atlanta Falcons actually getting into the playoffs too. But based on what they did this offseason, I don't know if you can call them a sleeper, but I think they're going to win their division and make some noise.
I didn't like the Rondell Moore injury. I actually thought that's going to hurt him a little bit. I like Rondell Moore. And then obviously it hurts even more that they went with Michael Penix, even though I told Gilbert, I know people don't agree with it, but I actually thought it was a good move for the future.
I do too.
He did say that.
Yeah. So, the next day when we jumped on here, I told Gilbert, I'm like, people are pissed and people are going to throw stones at me, but I kind of like the move for the future. They're protecting themselves just in case if Friday Night Light Kirk can't light it up on the national stage. So you got Michael.
I agree. You can get out of Kirk Cousins' deal in what 2 years?
Yeah.
And I mean, Michael Penix could sit, learn the system.
Yeah.
In 2 years. I mean, kind of what Patrick Mahomes did, although it was just 1 year, and then develop and then be ready. And then look what he'll have at his disposal.
Exactly.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I mean, you got
Bijan
Robinson. You have a lot of good weapons there. So I do like it.
I did like the moves for Jesse Bates. Or my bad, they already had Jesse Bates. I liked the Justin Simmons, and I liked them going and getting Judon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like both of those moves.
They have made moves where, so it's funny because they have both made moves to win now and also win later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm coming around to the Penix. I was one of the people that criticize it, but then I'm like, you don't have depth at edge rusher. You need more help for AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates. And then they go get Simmons and then Judon. And I'm like, oh, crap. I guess I was maybe a little wrong. We'll find out if Penix is a real deal, but I do like him a lot now. But Tyler, for our viewers and listeners, why do you like the Chargers? Can you elaborate?
So Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere he's at. So that's number one. And I do believe he's going to establish a culture and identity that the Chargers need. Now, don't get me wrong, and both of you two know this. I wanted the Chargers to pick a wide receiver with the number 5 pick. But now that I've thought about it more and I've seen how all these rookies have performed during the preseason, I understand why Jim Harbaugh did what he did. Joel was one of the best rookies in the preseason. And you solidify the offensive line and you protect your most prized commodity in Justin Herbert. After he just had that foot injury, you want to make sure he stays upright and stays healthy because you have no chance without him. And you can make a case Justin Herbert is top 5 in the NFL quarterback, but talent-wise alone, he's probably top, 3, just off pure talent and pure potential. So if you have that much potential at quarterback, you want to make sure you protect him and give him the best opportunity to win. And that starts up front with the offensive line. You address the running back position. Now, I do think eventually they're going to have to address the wide receiver position. Now, the jury's still out on all their receivers. They're pretty much unproven. Fernando's laughing at me because we talk about Quentin Johnson all the time. But Palmer's, I guess he's a decent receiver. But, I mean, I think he's a number 2 receiver at best. I mean, you have Lab McConkey, a slot receiver. We'll see what he does in his rookie year. And then the huge question mark is Quentin Johnson. Is he going to blossom into the first-round pick and his potential? If he does, then the Chargers have something. But his success is going to determine how well the Chargers do this season, too. I do think that defense is going to be good with Jesse Minter at defense coordinator, though.
You know what's crazy also, Tyler, is that you have the foot injury. So Justin did not play that preseason game because it said elevator in parentheses for injury. Because that elevator seems like it took a lot out. Do you see what he posted on Instagram? He's a funny dude. Like, I think people forget it's a bit of a dry humor like Joey Bosa, but he put hashtag no elevators on his pictures. And it's funny. Gilbert and I jumped on here and Mimsy's asking you about it. I was joking around with everybody. I'm like, what if Jim Harbaugh was behind the elevator, like stopping, and he's like, I want to see what my quarterback does under duress. What's going to happen when the going gets tough? And he sat there with a notepad and everything. He took notes, and he's like, okay, he's doing this, doing that. That's why he praised him. What says you?
So that would be a very bold move, considering I heard they were stuck between the 3rd and 9th floor of the Dallas hotel room. So I wouldn't want to be stuck in the elevator in any floor, but let alone between the 3rd and 9th floor, because if that elevator drops, this is coming from a guy who hates the Tower of Terror at Disneyland.
Ooh, that's a great one. I love that one.
I mean, I don't want to drop at all. I'd rather go upside down and stuff. So, yeah, Jim Harbaugh, no chance, Fernando. But I do like the fact that he was just speaking, it's praising.
Hilarious.
like, man, like Jim Harbaugh, one thing we know about him already, he loves Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert can't do any wrong.
No, there's no way. What have you thought about his press conferences so far?
He has some.
Because you laughed at me.
Yeah, he has some funny analogies. He has some unique ways of describing things. But when he talks football, you can tell he's a football guy, and he knows what he's talking about, and he loves the game. And he has, I'm trying to say his quote, but I'm forgetting it. But he has a passion for football.
Yeah,
it's unknown
to mankind. Yeah.
So. Who has it better than us? Nobody. Nobody.
Yeah, you can tell he's a good coach, and his track record speaks for itself. But I do like his press conferences because I usually always laugh at some point during his press conferences.
He laughed at me because I asked him. I was like, "Oh, what went into the decision of going with Luis Perez after Easton Stick and not Max Duggan?" And he goes, coach's decision. And like, I could just see Tyler like laughing. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. And I like ducked out in the back and I just left because I was like, all right, I'll take the L on that one.
Yeah. That was one of the many times I laughed at some of his answers to the questions from the Chargers beat reporters.
Yeah, Tyler, I told Fernando, like, these beat reporters better be ready because you better have a strong follow-up question because he's going to give you yes or no or give you those fierce eyes like, what are you talking about? You better be ready for Jim Harbaugh, I feel like.
He's like the opposite, and you know this, Gilbert, of Sean McVay. Sean McVay will give you long, elaborate answers, and you'll be like, man, I feel really enlightened after that answer. Like, this is a really good quote. Like, you pretty much wrote my whole story. I just have to put your quote in and I'm done. With Jim Harbaugh, it's like, huh?
You got to pick through the analogy and
kind of find out what he said. So it's kind of the opposite, but both coaches do well at their craft.
Mimsy does have a quick question for you. She said, as a member of the media, how do you feel about the injury updates being he's working through something?
I'm fine with it because at the end of the day, during the season, the injury report comes out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to know exactly what the player is working through. And on Friday, we're going to figure out if the player is in or out. So it doesn't matter to me. Now, during training camp and off-season program, I get it. But I mean, at that point, you still have several weeks until the regular season. But I get what he's doing.
I laughed at when Derwin said, he compared the first day of training camp like giving birth. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's definitely a Harbaughism, to say the least. But yeah.